Hey guys, what's going on? Cody here with Apexx Drone Solutions, as always in the shop with my boy Jesse. Welcome back to our YouTube channel for episode 2 of our how-to series. So today we are going to be kind of doing a little bit of a continuation from episode 1. In episode 1 we went through all the different things with the spreading system, from tearing it apart, cleaning it, putting it all back together. We went to the shop, we calibrated everything for you guys, and we got it ready to go do a job. Now, Jesse is going to go into the remote and show you guys how we would go about mapping and creating a mission and then actual workflow in the field with it. First part of this video, it's going to be a little bit boring, but we're going to try to go through every single thing on the remote that we can to make it as clear as water for you guys. And then the second part of the video, we're actually going to go out in the field and fly the drone and do a little bit of seeding so you guys can see everything we're doing here in the office put to use in the real field. We appreciate you guys coming back for episode 2, and we hope you guys enjoy. Anything you want to add before we go into it?
I'll just add that you mentioned hopefully it will make it clear as water. Until you get hands-on and really get into your remote and figure it out for yourself. Of course, the video is going to help you through it, but might be clear as mud for a little bit. Make sure you get your remote out, and before you go out in the field, try and figure it out on the way. Spend a little time in the remote, get familiar with it, know where everything is at, and it'll make the whole process much easier.
And as always, like Jesse said, this is going to be kind of a learning curve. Everything we do with the drones, it's a lot. We can talk to her blue in the face about stuff here, in the office, but
Exactly.
Until you actually get hands-on stuff, that's when you really learn. That's when you get better, and that's when you truly become a pilot. There's a lot of licensed pilots out there that aren't really pilots because in theory they do everything. You really got to get out there, get hands-on, doing stuff in the field to get better, just like anything in life. But like as always, I know you answer your phone all hours of the day. I answer my phone all hours of the day. We're here to help. That's why we're doing this. We really are trying to help everybody become better pilots and become better applicators for the farmers out there, because the farmers are really depending on us to do good jobs for them. So if there's anything in these videos, I've said it 100 times, I'll say it again. If there's anything in these videos that you guys don't understand what we're talking about, or you'd like us to explain more, or you just have a question about anything else, reach out to either one of us directly, or comment on the YouTube channel, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Get a hold of us. We really pride ourselves in service. We'll be back to you as quick as we can and help with anything you guys have. So with that being said, I'm going to kind of let Jesse take over here. He's going to go into the remote. We're going to try to pull the remote up so it'll be kind of a full screen. In most areas, we may downsize it down to a corner of the screen, a couple areas, but mostly it's going to be focused on the screen here so you can see, and we're just going to kind of talk back and forth and go through the process of doing everything.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and begin my screen record here. So now, this is just our area we're at right now. I am actually connected to the drone outside the office. But just real quick, I'm going to show you guys a little bit of mapping, how you want to do it, how you want to get things set up. First thing you want to do, make sure you are in route mode. Go to route mode, zoom in on your area that you like to map, select add, get this taskbar out of the way, and then you can just begin placing dots. Now there's a lot of people that are kind of nervous about switching to Talos, just because with the switch to Talos you do lose your ability to use Smart Farm, which is very, very helpful with all of the DJI products.
That is kind of, not to cut you off there, but like from a sales standpoint, I do get that phone call a lot. People asking me, well, I already have DJI, I really want to stay with DJI. Jesse, I know, you and I both, we've started with DJI. We've run mostly DJI up until this Talos drone. I mean, as far as changing platforms from the DJI, mapping stuff, as far as doing stuff on the remote and yada, yada, yada. I mean, is there really any learning curve or any change from going from the DJI platform on the 50s, the 40s, the stuff most people are familiar with, to the Talos 60?
There's really not a whole lot of change. I mean, obviously with Smart Farm, you can, if you're in more of a custom applicator situation and you have multiple crews, and if you're trying to monitor those multiple crews, Smart Farm is definitely a huge benefit. If you're looking at you and maybe one other crew, or maybe you're doing this on your own farm, Smart Farm is helpful, but it's really not essential. I mean, just from our situation as custom applicators, we kind of struggled a little bit as far as tracking for, say, billing. Our people in the office watching our acre totals for every day really utilize Smart Farm. Without it, we're still able to get the job done. There's a little bit a few more steps, I guess, to take to get the job done, but as pilots, it really was not an issue whatsoever. We're still able to share fields between drones, which I'll show you here in just a minute. And then also it still tracks all of your flight data and all of that. So no need to worry about not having your data, or I guess confirmation for your customer that you flew a certain field.
So one other question for you I have then, Jesse, kind of the elephant in the room right now with Talos, and probably honestly the number one question I get asked from people. Everybody seems to be concerned that there's no app for Talos, which I can confirm right now there is no app for Talos. Everything we do is right here on the remote, like Jesse just showed you. As Jesse said earlier in the video, you do have to be connected to the drone in order to do this. That's probably the only downside I can think of right off the top of my head about not having an app, because the app is nice, with DJI, that, if you're laying at bed at night, or, out to lunch or something, you can be creating maps and doing stuff on the app without the drone and stuff around you. Talos has told me that they are expecting an app to be coming either beginning of this year, 2026, or the first quarter of 2026 here. So, late winter, early spring, we're expected to see an app from Talos to make things easier. But, like I said, I've had a lot of people that are just like totally put off by Talos because that app is not really an option. And it seems like once we explain how to do stuff on the remote, without having the app, there's a lot of rumors, I think, flying around about, not being able to do stuff because you don't have an app. I mean, what's your stance on that, Jesse? I mean, not having an app, does that really limit you in any way running this drone without having an app?
I wouldn't say it really limits you in any way from, accomplishing the same as what you would with a 50. With a 60, obviously, you're still going to be better off in the long run, getting more acres done, accomplishing more day to day with the bigger drone, the bigger tank, all of that. I really don't see the lack of an app being anything that hinders you from being very accomplished every day. Like I said before, as far as watching multiple crews fly or anything like that, obviously there's a hindrance there. But for the most part, I say it's not a huge issue.
Going to your map that you have just drawn there, that's
Yeah.
very pretty. I do have one question. I know the answer here, but I want you to tell everybody else the answer. So for your guys out there running 40s and 50s like we used to, like zoom in on your perimeter on that, like next to those trees or something. So on a 40 and 50, when we were mapping, Jesse, we were not that close to the trees on a map.
No, we were not, for sure.
Why do you feel comfortable going this close? Because if I'm looking at that, I'm saying, oh geez, it's a little close. I spent a lot of money. I don't want my drone to end up in a tree. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. So, and to being honest, I did this one a little bit sloppy. I would normally be even a little bit closer than what you see here. But with the Talos T60, we found that there's really no need to put what we would call before with the 40s and the 50s a buffer around the field. So we would zoom in on the field on the border, and I mean we would move our boundary in 5 to 6 rows. And so in reality we're missing those 5 to 6 rows on the edge anytime when we have trees nearby. And we did that simply because we did not completely have trust in the obstacle bypass and obstacle avoidance of the T40 and the T50. The 40 was rough, the T50 was better. Well, the T60 is really good now. So we are very confident we put those boundaries right up against the trees. And in many cases along this border right here, you'll see, and whenever you fly it, that the trees will actually be reaching out into the field. But with the T60, we're confident with the obstacle bypass on that it will actually slow down and find its way around those obstacles as it's flying. So there's really no need to bring in your boundaries on your map any. And that way it ensures you get every last row of that field as well.
So just kind of looking here on the side of your map there, obviously the purple dots you've put around it, that is your boundary points to create the actual perimeter of the map, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now we've got the other options, the round and the obstacle point. What, as well, sorry, the non-application area, what like explain to everybody watching, like what are those 3 other dots? When would you use those? Do you use those? Give us some insight.
So the non-application area, well, in fact, we've got a little spot right here. So this would be a terrace. I'll go ahead and mark this out. Non-application area, you can mark out spots in your field, maybe like terraces or ditches or anything else that you don't want to be sprayed. You can mark that area out, and then you get a full polygon here. You can save that, and then when the drone passes over that area, it will actually shut off its atomizers and not spray as it passes through this gray spot.
So this is a great way that we're not wasting chemicals for that farmer, as opposed to somebody just running out there mapping the whole field and just spraying over something that doesn't need to be sprayed.
Right, especially in herbicide situations. If you're flying over ditches, this can save you a lot of time compared to mapping out individual fields that are broken up by waterways. So that can be super helpful in really multiple different situations. The obstacle point is another one that we use frequently. If there was a case where, say, there is a power pole or power lines crossing this field, I would not mark the lines themselves, but I would mark each individual pole itself. There's not one here, but I'll just give an example. I'd just make a little square around a pole that was in the field, just like that. And so then the drone recognizes that that pole is there. It just kind of gives it a heads up. I mean, we have confidence that the drone would see it and stop and find a way around it. But in this industry, it's all about efficiency. And if you give the drone a heads up that there's already an obstacle there, it's going to save you a whole lot of time in the long run. Other than that, I'd say that's about it with mapping. I'm going to go ahead and save this map.
Real quick, one thing before you move
Sure.
forward. The round. Do you do anything with that? What exactly is that?
We don't generally use the round.
Okay.
Some people choose to. I wouldn't recommend it, but that's just kind of a personal preference.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and save this video, or this map, I'm sorry. I'll name it quick.
When you're, so like, obviously, you know, like a custom applicator is going to be different than like just your farmer doing his own land. But like as we're spraying, you know, multiple farmers, you and I both already know the answer to this, but how crucial is it to have a very good, uniform, consistent naming system for your fields?
Especially as custom applicators, that is really very important. I mean, we have a couple different systems. We're actually large enough now that we have a couple different systems we use. Generally, what we'll do is we'll do farmer, grower, and then who actually set up those acres to be sprayed. So our salesmen, whether it's a co-op, whether it's, we've got a few guys here that are booking acres for us. Like I said, multiple co-ops, chemical distributors, or farmers themselves that are taking care of other people's acres. So we always separate them by an underscore. That's just our personal preference how we do it. But it is very important that you know that you have every single one of your fields designated a different name.
Like, I know you already saved that field. Is there any way to rename that field that you can show people what we're talking about?
Absolutely. Go rename here.
So this is what he's talking about. So like go through each step, say how you would do it, show the underscore, and then we'll see the final result so we can see and show people how, you know, because some people, you know, may not think about this. They may just think, you know, we just name it as we go on the fly, and then at the end of the year, they're like, man, what in the world did I name that field, you know?
Right. So what I'll do here is I'll go HRT. That's a pretty common one for us. That's Hart Farms. And then I'll do an underscore. And I'll then go to the farm name. So, for example, we have a farm we call Hidden Hills. And then I'll go to who got that field, so I'll go Jesse. And then number 1. Oh, I missed a underscore there. All right. So like I said before, I've got the farmer, HRT, Hidden Hills, which is the farm itself, and then who is booking that acre. So if we have any questions about that field, we know to contact me, Jesse Bellman, and then this is field 1 of 1 so far, and then I'll go ahead and save that. So that just gives us a very detailed information basically for whenever it comes to billing. We know what all information we need there. So then something else I wanted to show everybody was this divide field option right here. This is very helpful when you are flying multiple drones. So all of our pilots at Apexx will be flying 2 drones off of a rig this year. So this is a very useful tool that we use. So I'll go ahead and show you here real quick. Hit divide, and now you have all of these options for where you want to pick 2 individual points in the field. So I'll just select that one there and this one, and just like that, it divides that field in half. And I can then come down here and save as, It will divide that field. Now when you click back on this field again, you'll see that there's actually 3. So there's the original field, and the divide 1 and divide 2. So now you can go back to your home screen.
So I think you're getting ready to answer this question for everybody, but I've had people tell me that without the app and without the web-based stuff, they're not able to send a map you make on this field to another T60.
Right.
That's not true, is it?
So that is actually not true. Although you do not have the app, you still have the cloud on the Talos drone. So once you create a Talos account and you've got your drone here and you're logged in, you can actually log into that same account on multiple drones. And it has a cloud, so you're able to upload files, which I'll show you here. You go to Files, and then go to Local. Should be right here, Recent, that I created. Maybe.
You guys got to give him a minute. This is his first time doing this.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Wonder if it's because... Oh, there they are.
There it goes.
I don't know. It's here now.
All right, so we've got our fields here after we use the search bar. And as you can see over here on the right side, there's a red X on the cloud. So what we can do then is select.
And this will be the same on any of my remotes logged into this account, correct?
That is correct. So we'll go ahead and select the fields that we're interested in and then upload. Now, depending on your internet connection, it could take a little bit. This one's going to go pretty fast for us. So that was successful. And then this is very helpful when you're flying 2 drones. Now we've got both of our fields right there in green on the cloud. So on a different remote, you can go to the cloud and find these maps that we just uploaded. They would look like one of these down here with the red clouds. You'd just simply select them, ones you're interested in, and download, and just like that they would be on the second remote. That would allow you then to go back to your original map. You select one field on one drone, and then on the other remote you'd come over here and grab that field. And that allows you to fly both fields simultaneously and with confidence that you're not going to be crossing paths by any means.
So how would, if I was flying 2 drones, same time spraying both those fields together, does it automatically know where to start each drone, or are you picking a starting point to make sure that they are away from each other and in safe distance?
One of the biggest things, this isn't really a good example. Normally we would split the field vertically according to where we're positioned at, whether it be on a road or in a parking lot, whatever it be, so that we have one drone taking off of the trailer going right and one drone taking off going left. But in this situation, you'd most likely, what I would do is I'd have the return home height on one drone set at, say, 30 feet and another return home height on the other drone set at 60 feet. And that just ensures that whenever the drones are either out of liquid or out of battery, that when they go up to return home, that they're always at a different height when they are crossing each other's paths. If that makes sense, answers your question.
Yeah, for the most part. So, but like, does it automatically assign where it's going to start spraying in that field?
Yeah, so whenever I select a field here, I guess I'll just start from the beginning. On any field, this is kind of just standard for us at Apexx. We'll go into Edit. We'll start with Advanced B. We'll go Route and Boundary. That just ensures that we get all the way around the field, really every row. And
So
then,
is that doing the route first and then the boundary at the end, or the boundary at the beginning and then the route at the end?
so this route and boundary, it's the center of the field, your route first, and then finishes up with your boundary. We then go into route spacing. I guess I'll just set everything up real quick. This is all pretty standard for us.
So your route spacing, that's kind of your swath width, correct?
Yes, that is your swath width.
So obviously, I'm not knocking on anybody here, but obviously your drone manufacturers state that every drone we've flown to date, the swath width is way higher than what we actually fly.
That is correct.
Why is that?
Well, I can't tell you why exactly they allow you to put this so high. I actually don't even know how high it'll let me go. So it says that I can spray or spread 36.09 feet. That is false. If you put that into your drone and you go out and start spraying, you will not have that amount of coverage.
Well, like you and I talked the other day, it probably will spray that far, but the amount of chemical you're getting
that in ideal
is not
perfect
doing
conditions,
anything.
I would say it's possible. I'm not doubting that it's possible, but in the real world, it's tough to find those conditions.
And the big elephant in the room how many times do you and I see on the Facebook groups and stuff, people posting pictures of zebra stripes in a field and wondering why their drone did that? Well, when I bought the drone, so-and-so salesman told me that they were spraying this far, but now the farmer's mad at me because the field looks like a zebra. And I think this is a serious kind of, it's not really, it is, but it isn't a problem. It's a serious thing, and I think it gives the drones a bad name, and I think it's gotten negative impacts on the drone industry. People not really testing their drones and not knowing the capabilities of their drones and just going off of what a salesman told them they can spray, and then they go out and stripe the field, and then the farmer gets pissed and never hires the drone again and tells everybody that drones suck because they striped the field. You know what I mean?
That's very, very true. But like Cody was saying, ideally, everybody wishes they could spray wider, but without the perfect conditions and everything else that would be needed to actually be able to spray that wide, in reality, according to the testing that we've done on the Talos T60, you really do not want to be above 30 feet wide on your swath width. Now, I'll also mention herbicide, fungicide, and then spreading is all very different whenever it comes to your swath width. Spreading, depending on how high off the ground you are and how high your spinner disc speed is, you can get all the way to 40, 50 feet wide on your swath width. Would I recommend that? Not really, but you can do it. For fungicide, like I said, kind of the industry standard is fungicide with spray drones. That's really what everybody's using them for. On the Talos T60, you do not want to get above 30 feet on your swath width. We've tried wider and it does not work. Sometimes, but not always, and we want to make sure we do a good job for our customers, so we always try and stay below 30 feet. Now,
how much better is that compared to like the older models like the 40s and the 50s?
On the 40s and the 50s, we were looking at 25 to 26 feet wide. So not a huge increase on swath width, but it definitely helps.
If you're doing 500 acres a day, you add up 500 acres times 4 feet every flight.
Right.
That adds up at the end of the day.
Yeah, for sure. So the Talos T60 for sure allows you to cover quite a bit more ground more ethically and then also faster. But I was going to mention also, if you're doing any type of herbicide application, normally with fungicide, we're going to run, well, let me go ahead and finish this up real quick. So we're got our route spacing, our field margins. So this is actually kind of important. Your field margin is the distance between the edge of your swath width and the edge of your boundary. So when you come around doing your boundary route, your field margin is the distance between the boundary and the edge of your spray swath, not the drone. So right now it's set at 4.9. That means that if my swath width is 30 feet, that my drone flying its boundary will be 15 feet away from the boundary plus 4.9 feet. Now, with the Talos T60, I have confidence that I have plenty of room to get around obstacles and anything that might be around the edge of my field with that 15 feet I have between the drone and any tree, the boundary of my field. I have confidence that it will find a way around obstacles. So I always bump this all the way down to 0. So there is, that basically is telling me that my application, whatever I'm spraying or spreading, is reaching right onto the boundary, the very edge of my field. Then down here we have obstacle boundary safety distance. So this is basically telling the drone what you are comfortable, how close or you are comfortable with the drone getting to an obstacle. So I'll always set this at 6 feet. That means that if it encounters a tree or something else on the edge of your field, it will get 6 feet from that obstacle and find its way around until it can get back on track and finish its course. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and save this. Like I said, our obstacle boundary safety distance is at 6 feet, so that's keeping us 6 feet away from any potential crash, hopefully. I mean, we have pretty well confidence now in the T60s that we're not too worried about its obstacle bypass capabilities, but like I said, we'll go ahead and save this, and then the next step would be to hit use, but we're going to go ahead and move on out to the field and kind of give you guys a quick demo, an example on setting everything up for spreading. I guess we'll get everything moved to the field and we'll catch up with you there.
It's pretty windy, but we're going to give it our best shot because we're kind of on a tight window.
Conditions are not the best,
no,
but we're going to make it work for the video.
We're getting ready to get some bad weather coming in, and it's going to shut us out for like a week. So we just want to get this done. So again, don't try this at home. This is not ideal situations, but the show must go on, right, Jesse?
It'll look good on video. The application might not be the best.
It's a good thing it's just for our field, isn't it?
That's for sure.
All right, we'll see you guys outside.
All right, everybody. So we've got battery in the drone. Remote is linked to the drone, and we've actually already got seed in the tank. We are ready to go. So like Cody said before, this is not the map we created in the office, but it's just a quick little demo for us. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over my screen so you guys can see what I'm doing. You can see I've got this T60X demo field right here. I'm going to go ahead and select that. Now this is just kind of standard for our pilots, what we do whenever we're getting ready to fly a field. I like to go to Edit, go to Advanced B. We always like to run a boundary route, make sure you get all of your edges. We'll go back to Basic. Now it's kind of important to know what you're spreading, kind of your application whenever it comes to route spacing. So your route spacing is not only determined by how high you are flying, but also by your spinner disc speed, which I'll show you here in just a second. Normally, we kind of set it standard with spreading at 35 feet wide. And then our field margins with the T60, I'll bump that all the way down to 3 feet. All right, now we'll go ahead and hit save, and then go to use. Here you can either create a template, which we have not done yet, but what we're going to do today, we're going to select our material that we've calibrated into this drone. Our application rate, we're going to go with 20 pounds per acre. Our spinner disc speed, like I said before, your swath width is really determined by your spinner disc speed, and then down here your height above crop. So just kind of as a standard, we'd like to get some more testing done on it, and maybe we can make that a future video. But for right now, we know that if you go 550 revolutions per minute and you fly 25 feet above the crop, that gets you about 37 to 38 feet wide on your coverage. Now, if you remember, before I had it at 35 feet on our swath width. That's giving us just a little bit of overlap as we're seeding. Flight speed, we'll go ahead and set that up to 45 feet per second. And then route spacing, once again, we're at 35. Good to go. Now we can begin our mission. I'll go ahead and step back here and take off. Over here on the right side, you can see the area covered and amount spread. Go and pop that screen up for you. Now we're a little low on battery, so hopefully we can get a full acre in and you can see how accurate this auger system is, especially compared to the T50 or the T40 spreader, which was gravity fed. With that system, you really had to watch this screen right here on the right, monitor how many pounds per acre the drone was actually spreading compared to what you had inserted into its parameters. And we are out of seed, so it's going to go ahead and return home. Obviously not ideal conditions for flying, spreading, or spraying. This is pretty rough. Windy, cold, not very nice outside. But I guess that's about it as far as creating a map, getting everything set up for you guys to be able to go out and spread on your own. Like Cody said before, if you guys have any more questions, or if he wants to go a little bit more in depth into anything, of course, give us a shout. Comment on the video, just let us know. Thank you guys.